that job abroad, that's no longer counted as wages. Even though foreign people are working, you're just paying a bill to a company that's outsourcing that, and so it doesn't look like wages.
But I want to get really clear on one thing, because we're going to check this afterwards, and we're going to put this up for people to see, and if we're wrong, we'll say so. But my understanding is productivity has, if you look at the graph, productivity has gone like this, and wages have gone like this.
Government claims that productivity has risen. I just don't buy it. I think it's statistical aberration. You know, I don't believe that we've become more productive. If we were more productive,
why don't you believe it? What do you base your belief on?
We are running a trade deficit now of almost $50 billion a month, $500 billion a year. If we are so productive, where's all the stuff we're producing? Why aren't we selling it all around the world? Why do we have a massive trade deficit if we're so productive?
Well, I mean, because everything on the shelves at Walmart comes from China, right?
Well, because China's more productive. But where's all the stuff we're producing? Where's all the stuff we're putting on Walmart shelves?
One would think it's being, most of the American production gets consumed in the United States. It doesn't have to be exports.
But then why are we importing then? If we can produce enough, why do we need imports?
Do you not accept what I thought was the fact that the United States is still the biggest manufacturing country in the world?
Well, per capita, there's no way.
Well, not per capita, absolute numbers.
But I know that might be the case because we manufacture, aircrafts or certain things that are big. But I know that
we still manufacture cars here.
We manufacture some. We don't manufacture nearly as many as we used to. We don't manufacture.
The auto sector is not dead, and we do manufacture lots and lots of stuff. There's no question about it.
But we export. I mean, China exports more than we do now. Germany exports more than we do, even though we're a bigger economy.
Well,
I mean, we're a much bigger economy than they are, yet they export more than we do.
The bigger an economy, I guess, the less likely it is to export. Just that's an arithmetic fact.
Okay, let's go to. So I'm unemployed. I'm watching this debate. I want to know what kind of public policy should I be demanding that's in my interest. So start.
Well, I think, as I was saying earlier, I think what we need is to create industries for the longer term. I don't think we're going to get low-wage industry back in the United States. I'm not a protectionist in that sense, but I think we need to get really advanced, environmentally sophisticated technologies going in this country.
How are you going to do that?
We need to be producing, solar panels. We need to be producing all kinds of energy infrastructure, and the government can do that. The computer industry would not exist if it had not been for Pentagon subsidies in the 1950s and 1960s. The pharmaceutical industry in the United States has been long the beneficiary of public policy through assistance to research and development, fundamental research and product development. The industries in which the United States is still strong, computers, R&D, computers rather, and pharmaceuticals, and even agribusiness and aerospace are all areas in which the government has been very, very active. And I think we need to extend that model to developing new technologies, in new green technologies that can create high-wage jobs and bring manufacturing back, and also save us from climate crisis.
We're not even strong.
Same question. I'm unemployed. Yeah. I'm watching this debate. What policy should I be demanding in my interests?
Well, free market policies. I mean, if you want to get a job, there needs to be incentives for somebody to hire you. In order for somebody to hire somebody else, they need to be able to make a profit, and they need capital, because workers usually lack their own capital, so they want access to somebody else's capital. So you have to have policies that allows capital formation, that allows for incentives, that allows for profits. So you want less government regulation, you want lower taxes, so that jobs can be created. I mean,
what happens to me in the meantime? Because if I understand it correctly, we're going to go through quite a period of pain, and I don't think the top 2 percentile is going to be feeling the pain quite the way me, the unemployed person, is. So how long? What are you going to do for me?
Well, there's nothing the government can do for anybody.
Wall Street banks are sitting on something like $1 trillion, most of it which came at practically zero interest rates from the Fed. And they're just sitting on it. It's not circulating. If anything,
they're loaning it to the government. They're buying bonds.
Well, they may buy bonds. A lot of them are just, if they're buying bonds, it's a way they can get liquid again fast.
Right, well, that's what they're doing.
They're sitting waiting for a crash. And they're sitting waiting for the economy to quote-unquote bottom out. And maybe they would even like to push it into more bottoming out. Because what more would you want? If you're sitting on cash, now just wait to buy up on the cheap.
Yeah, well, they've got oodles of money and they don't want to share it. But they think the economy is very weak, and there's not much prospect of recovery anytime soon. So no one wants to lend money in that situation, which is, we're back what Keynes was writing about in 1936. When private investors do not want to lend because of fear of risk or fear of a stagnant economy, the government has to step in and act. Otherwise, we'll just be stuck
the reason the economy is
in this
stagnant
kind of
is because the
high
government is
unemployment
acting.
equilibrium indefinitely.
Well,
now, also, your question earlier about what to do for the unemployed person, I was talking about longer-term stuff, but we also have very short-term immediate needs for people who are unemployed, who going to get thrown out of their houses and can't put food on the table. We need better unemployment benefits, and we need job creation programs. The stimulus bill, I think, was very defective in that it didn't focus enough on long-term infrastructure, but it was also no direct job creation.
Look, the free market is the best way to create jobs and get rid of these government barriers. And we don't want more unemployment benefits. We'll just subsidize unemployment even more. A lot of people, I know a lot of people talk to me all the time. People are deliberately not working because they want to collect their unemployment checks. It's more lucrative.
Is such utter nonsense.
No,
the
it's
average
not
unemployment
nonsense.
check is $300 a week. You cannot live on that unless you have to.
No, because if you get a job and by the time you finish paying taxes and paying the expenses to get back and forth to work,
you'll make a lot more than $300 a week.
And a lot of the people who are collecting the unemployment benefits have jobs on the side. They're just working illegally because they don't want to give up those benefits.
This is the worldview.
Somebody lives in Connecticut
at the top of the income distribution who doesn't understand what people have to go through.
I get emails all the time from people who tell me that either they're doing it or friends are doing it. They know a lot of people that are taking unemployment benefits. I did it myself.
When you decide,
you regularly?
Yeah, I did it myself. I was unemployed once myself. I didn't even look for a job.
So you think the unemployment rate will go down if there were not unemployment benefits?
Oh, absolutely. People would be taking jobs. I mean, I've talked to
People
businessmen.
would be eating bugs if the unemployment rate.
I've talked to businessmen who say they can't find anybody to take jobs because they'd rather have unemployment. Now, yes.
This is just the whining of the
No, it's not.
Bob Kuttner called us the revolt of the haves back in the 1970s. We're back here again.
Okay, we're not going to come to an agreement here, but I think we've laid out what the different positions are very well. So thank you very much, Peter.
Sure.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
And thank